Welcome back to Bike Culture Hub. There are motorcycles that impress you the first time you see them, and then there are motorcycles that surprise you the more you learn about them. The 2026 Honda Super Cub 160 Enduro sits firmly in the second category. At first glance, it might look like a charming throwback to the classic Super Cub lineage, but with a bit of rugged gear bolted on. But once you dive deeper into what Honda has done here, you realize this is not just a city commuter with an adventurous costume, it's a fully capable, purpose-built, small-displacement enduro machine that takes one of the most beloved motorcycles in history and reimagines it for a very different purpose. For decades, the Honda Super Cub has been the world's best-selling motor vehicle, loved for its bulletproof reliability, approachable nature, and simplicity. But now, in 2026, Honda has taken the Super Cub's DNA and spliced it with the adventurous spirit of their off-road lineup, creating something that can tackle both the backstreets and the backwoods with equal confidence. From the moment you see the 2026 Super Cub 160 Enduro, it gives off a different energy than its urban-focused siblings. The high-mounted front fender, chunky dual-purpose tires, longer travel suspension, and engine protection plates all scream adventure. The classic step-through frame remains, keeping that approachable stance and easy mounting that Super Cub riders love, but the ground clearance has been raised significantly, giving the bike a more commanding presence and improved capability over rough terrain. The round LED headlight is still there, a nod to the Cub's heritage, but now it's housed in a protective shroud, with a small rally-style wind deflector above it to fend off trail dust and wind blast. The paint schemes are a mix of Honda's traditional colors and earthy tones, with matte finishes that hide dirt well and make the bike look ready for the wild. Underneath its rugged exterior lies the heart of the machine, a brand new 160 cubic centimeters, fuel-injected, air-cooled single-cylinder engine, tuned for a perfect balance between smooth urban cruising and punchy low-end torque for off-road climbs. This isn't just an upboard version of the old Super Cub engine. Honda reworked the intake and exhaust systems, reinforced the crankshaft, and optimized the gear ratios to handle steeper gradients and unpredictable surfaces. The result is an engine that produces around 15 horsepower and a healthy dose of torque right where you need it most, making the bike feel lively without being intimidating. Paired with Honda's 4-speed semi-automatic gearbox, you still get that easy, clutchless riding experience. A huge plus for riders new to off-road riding who want to focus more on their line and less on juggling the clutch. Performance-wise, the 2026 Super Cub 160 Enduro is all about versatility. In the city, it's as friendly as ever. The low-speed balance is excellent, the steering is light, and the bike slips through traffic with ease. But take it off the tarmac, and you quickly realize how much Honda's chassis upgrades have paid off. The longer travel telescopic forks up front and dual shock absorbers in the rear soak up rocks, roots, and potholes without drama. The dual-purpose tires, mounted on 17-inch spoked wheels, provide solid grip on both asphalt and loose gravel, and the raised ground clearance means you can tackle trails that would leave a regular Super Cub stranded. The bike feels light and manageable, even when weaving through narrow forest paths or climbing a steep dirt incline. One of the standout features is how Honda has managed to make the suspension comfortable for everyday riding while still capable enough for weekend adventures. It's firm enough to keep the bike planted at speed, but with enough give to take the sting out of rough patches. Braking is handled by a front disc and rear drum combination, with ABS tuned to work well on mixed surfaces. It's not the most aggressive braking system, intentionally so, because when riding on loose terrain, overly sharp brakes can be more of a liability than an asset. Instead, Honda has gone for progressive, predictable stopping power. Fuel efficiency remains a strong point, even with the bigger engine. The Super Cub 160 Enduro can deliver close to 60 to 65 km per liter under normal riding, meaning you can easily see ranges above 300 km from its 5-liter tank. That's perfect for riders who want to explore remote areas without constantly worrying about finding the next fuel station. The tank itself has been slightly reshaped for a better knee grip when standing up on the pegs. Yes, the bike actually encourages you to ride it standing, like a proper off-roader. The seat has also been redesigned for adventure duty. It's slightly longer and flatter, giving you more room to shift your weight forward or backward depending on terrain, and the padding is firm enough to support long days in the saddle without feeling like a couch. The handlebars are wider and set higher, giving a comfortable, upright riding position that works well both seated and standing. The controls are simple and weather-resistant, designed to shrug off rain and dust. There's even a small digital dash with a gear indicator, trip meter, clock, and fuel gauge, basic, but everything you need without distraction. When it comes to carrying capacity, Honda hasn't forgotten the practical side of the Super Cub. The rear rack is larger and sturdier than before, capable of carrying camping gear, tools, or even a grocery run. For serious adventurers, there are optional panniers and a front cargo rack available from Honda's accessories catalog. The frame has been reinforced at mounting points to handle extra weight without compromising stability. One thing that really stands out is the bike's weight, or rather, the lack of it. At just around 115 kilograms wet, the Super Cub 160 Enduro is extremely easy to handle, whether you're maneuvering through a tight alley or picking your way through a rocky river crossing. This lightness is a huge advantage in off-road situations, where a heavy bike can quickly become exhausting to wrestle around. And unlike many larger adventure bikes, dropping it isn't a big deal, just pick it up and keep going. The price point is another one of its unique selling points. The 2026 Honda Super Cub 160 Enduro comes in at around $3,799, depending on the market. That's an incredible value for a machine that can commute during the week and explore the backcountry on weekends. For riders who have been tempted by the adventure bike lifestyle but don't want to spend big money or handle the bulk of a 500cc plus machine, this bike offers an affordable, approachable entry point without feeling like a compromise. Honda's reputation for reliability is practically built into the Super Cub name, and the Enduro version is no different. Everything about it feels over-engineered for longevity, from the thick spokes on the wheels to the sturdy plastic handguards protecting the levers. This is the kind of bike you can take deep into the wilderness and not have to worry about whether it'll get you back. And if something does go wrong, its simplicity means repairs are straightforward, with parts availability being a non-issue thanks to Honda's global reach. In many ways, the Super Cub 160 Enduro is a perfect embodiment of the idea that you don't need a massive, high-horsepower motorcycle to have a real adventure. It's about accessibility. About opening the door to off-road riding for people who might otherwise have been put off by the size, cost, or complexity of traditional adventure bikes. It's for the city commuter who wants to try trail riding on the weekends, for the rural rider who needs something light and reliable for daily duties, and for the seasoned motorcyclist who just wants a fun, simple machine to explore backroads without the stress of managing a heavyweight. And perhaps the most charming thing about this bike is that it doesn't take itself too seriously. Yes, it's tough and capable, but it still has that friendly, almost playful vibe that the Super Cub has always had. And that wraps up our look at the 2026 Honda Super Cub 160 Enduro. A machine that carries the weight of history on its shoulders, yet boldly steps into new territory. Affordable, approachable, reliable, and just the right amount of adventurous, it's a reminder that sometimes, the best journeys start with the simplest of machines.